Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by the Adam Meakin, 10th Man, Neil, Bev, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, Creation Bear. Good morning, Ryan. Good to have you all. And we'll fairly swiftly make our way through housekeeping because Bev's got stuff to talk about, and we are going to talk about it in length. So, any evidence of a physical geometric spheroid horizon, formerly known as Earth curvature?
Still waiting, but no evidence.
Wow, swifter than I was expecting.
I realise you can't hear me shaking my head.
Yeah,
No.
I see. Or
I
don't.
found a little bit of a lump. But
That's
You want to
not
see a
what-
doctor then, Bev?
I was gonna
not
say,
what you're after.
you want to get that checked. Any
It's
evidence
not-
of
it's not
axial
that-
rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No. The Earth, we're not experiencing Earth-based Coriolis, but the luminaries are moving above us for sure.
Indeed. If the Earth was a sphere rotating, then we'd have a deviation caused by the non-inertial reference frame turning underneath the inertial reference frame to cause not actual deflection at 15 degrees an hour. And we don't experience any natural drift in nature. It's merely asserted with gadgets and gizmos. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No, it's just a light in the sky, and there is no distance measurement to it.
Darwin's late, and it's a lovely clear day, so we might have been able to make a number up. Probably about 3 Darwinian units, actually.
It always was.
Other than that,
It always was 3 AU, or Arwinian units. It's the derivative of the standard astronomical unit at 1 AU, hence it's divisible perfectly.
So you can calculate it then.
Well, an Arwinian unit to the sun. You
Well,
can
why not?
make
The
a few
globers
assumptions.
calculate everything.
Yeah, with a few assumptions.
Yeah, you need those.
Well, let's talk about those. Any evidence of R, the Earth's radius, in its assumed format?
Wouldn't you need a curved surface to have R?
Yeah, you'd need to be on a ball to measure a ball. And we're not on a ball, so you can't measure a ball. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
not from Nottingham.
Well, that's the best place to test it from is Nottingham. So if it's not there, it's not here in California.
Exactly.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
That's a term they made up for the ball that doesn't exist, so they can have their outer space vacuum next to Earth. With the violation of the second law of thermodynamics, the gas would fill the available space, but it doesn't. But they say gravity keeps the atmosphere, which is an oxymoron. So yeah, they're messed up.
Well, on that topic, any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
Without the container, there can be no pressure. Famous baller. Cats 2020 or 2019, is it?
19.
2019. I would say no.
Wouldn't this be a great way for them to show gas pressure by gravity rather than a container? Have they ever done that?
What, show a second law of thermodynamics violation? No.
Yeah. So no.
Gas behavior opposes gravity, doesn't it? It demonstrates the lack of any force. Gas doesn't go down, go boom, boom.
Robert Ager did a video about Moonraker, and he was talking about the set designers and people like Kubrick and how Kubrick had tried to get the same set designer but couldn't, things like that. You know, he's a film analyst. So I left him a comment or a reply to someone else's reply, because he was actually replying to somebody in his own video, which is not unreasonable. And I said, why don't you review the moon landing? Or the sky vacuum. I didn't mention that it's contextually the same as in his film, but the sky vacuum is a second law of thermodynamics violation. If the sky was a vacuum, the gas we breathe, which expands in all directions to fill the availability of volume, that would be space it has to fill, then we'd all be dead. Gas would have filled it. Sky is not a vacuum. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
No, they could only observe things and then make up more stuff. There's no way they could apply that field of pseudoscience to the scientific method.
Hello, Arwin.
Hello, guys.
Hello, Chocolate. Hello, Arwin. That
Oh,
concludes-
chocolate.
Hey, Adam.
Good morning.
Hello. Right. Bit of mic discipline, as Quantum Eraser would say. That said, it's going to be fairly interactive, and that's kind of what's going to be encouraged, so I shouldn't have really said that. But Bev has been out and about. He's been on the plains, so to speak, and trying to get underneath the horizon. There's no other way to describe it. I've put a link to this particular video in the live stream chat, so it's members only chat, but you can still go and click that link and go and subscribe to Try Thinking channel. So click it, subscribe today, and Bev's going to hopefully talk us through a bit about what's going on in the video that I'm about to present to you as a live audience. So, Bev, hello.
Hello.
Good to have you, first of
Good
all.
afternoon. Thank you. Thanks. Pleasure to be here. What do you want? A quick run through of how this video came about?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's right,
Well,
Bev.
I want an explanation of the title
there you go.
to start.
I'm only short.
As long as you need, there's no rush. I'm not clear in the
So
airways.
a bit ago, somebody brought a spot close to Southport where we filmed the original Fata Morgana into our view, right? So we went there, and when I went there to take a few shots, we noticed that a strange thing happening when people walking out towards the beach. And when you because you have these P1000 cameras, luckily enough we've got one of those, you can zoom in and see some really weird things that I don't think people get to comprehend or whatever, because you're just seeing a picture on a camera, right? You're not actually getting an idea of how far away it is or anything, because these are fantastic cameras. So it came across that I saw somebody on the horizon in the distance, and I said to everybody else, I said, I bet I could get under that horizon. And so we tried. We've been working on a bit of thing on the Discord and how to present all of these things, and we've been working on how to present the auto level. So it came more of a test of how we can demonstrate to everybody else what we see when we're out there, and the concept of how far you could use these tools, and the difference between using them locally and why there's limits optically and what happens in the distance. So we just decided to try and have a bit of fun, you know, and try and hopefully show people that what you see isn't necessarily what you think you see, because these cameras and these optical devices show strange things. Obviously, we are building up to do more. I mean, that was just the first one. We've got more tests to come and more things. But I mean, it mainly is to show an interactive way that you can put somebody else who wouldn't normally have the chance of seeing these sort of things in the driving seat, if you will, with a good view, and being able to have a conversation at the same time. That's what this is a showcase of, this short one.
I can't see you.
Can you not?
Even your
If I get down low,
you
I can see.
you can't see it.
If I get down low, I can see your stick. That's it.
Wow. Really?
Your measuring rod is almost underneath the crosshair.
Yeah. 5 meters.
Yes, that
Yeah,
really,
I can't even see you.
10, maybe about 800 meters or something. I don't know exactly. Hey! Try leveling.
How much further should I go?
Keep going, mate. Just keep going, mate. Just be careful that you don't go too deep.
Just how you're going to drown.
Don't go any further than that. Fucking hell.
There's not much further I can go, but I want to get like as far as we can, really.
Can you like lift your leg up?
See, this water's coming in.
Dad, can you turn around this way, face this way, yeah? And sort of lift your leg up a bit, or do something with your feet.
Look how crazy the stick gets when he holds it sideways.
Hey! There you go.
See that?
So it's stuck to your hip. Hey! Oh, that's brilliant.
Really, you getting
To
that?
the other side. Hey! Hey!
Having pressed the stick horizontal, like, oh,
But yeah, make sure it's.
Just mute the sound on this. So obviously you're aware of where we are in the video, Bev. That's for context. That's Bev. So what you're looking at is Bev lifting his leg up. So do you want to just explain? Sorry, Bev. I'll close my mic.
No, that's good.
Don't mention the war.
I assume there's a small little hump there in the sand, but the limited angle, like it was good having flat side there, you know, to go over that optically. But I mean, there's obviously more stuff we can do. We can do this at different times of the day. I mean, it was a really bad time of the day because we'd gone there late for a sunset, so the sun is behind me. So you're looking into the sun, which obviously doesn't make the best for reading measurements or anything like that. So next time we go, we'll do it at a different time of the day.
Again, for context, you probably got a pretty good idea from an audience perspective how high the cameras are on this pretty flat area that you're shooting across. But you're about, you guessed about 1K. Obviously, you're not taking a measuring wheel with you, but at a guess, you know, you're about 1,000 meters. Would you say?
Yeah, it's something. I mean, it could be more, could be less, but I'd say around that. It took me a long time to walk it. I know that for sure.
Right, but what I'm saying is you're not like massively out beyond the limitations of a fundy begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator that would remove half your body. Is what I'm saying. You're not at a massive distance to induce.
No.
this effect.
Oh no, not at all. You know, like you could. I initially, like I said, we went there for different reasons initially to that place, and somebody had pointed a picture of, you know, like this is where eye level is over the other side of at Blackpool, and I thought that was a bit ridiculous. So that's initially when we went there to see that, but to know how much things compress and what happens even at that sort of a distance, to then assume that 10k further off in the distance you could just point your finger and go there, well, there, that's where your eye level is, you know, it's ridiculous the amount of compression that happens, and at that limited angle, stuff just disappears. Like you say, shit shrinks and then it just disappears.
That's weird, Bev. It sounds like you're talking about optics.
Yeah, it is.
That's weird,
never
because
wanted
that's been
to
our
talk about
argument
optics
all these years, right? But now we're being told by these guys that it's optics. Isn't that funny? Here we are in 2021. Amazing.
Yeah, I never wanted to be drawn into the optics because I thought it's an initial non-argument. It's something that just gets rode around and different people's ideas and stuff. But this gets you can see with this initially was the horizontal crosshair didn't move. But that's because the horizontal crosshair in the auto level is about an inch, if that, away from the camera lens within the device, within the auto level. That's all it is. It's just a little line on a piece of plastic. It's not the horizontal plane that you see that goes out infinitely forever. That horizontal plane obviously changes over the optics change everything. But that's why it has a limit. The auto level has a limit of it, you know, so yeah, that's what we did. All it is a camera on the back of the auto level. I'm looking at what you're playing now. So the one in the middle, the sort of grayed out one, that is the camera looking through the auto level. The other one's just the camera looking at us, and then you've got the P1000. We didn't go that well prepared. It was a bit, you know, it was a bit of on the spur of a moment. We didn't put charges on the phones. Discord has a bit of a tendency to kick people out, and when it kicks the phone out that's on the auto level, it freezes the screen. So there's a few little problems that we were working out. But the main one was to see whether all of the Wi-Fi signals would work, whether we could piggyback one phone on another and see whether it'd still work when I went out. And it did. It seemed to work quite well with the communication.
Okay, I'm just going to interject at this point and say, what you're seeing on screen now is the participation that Bev sort of gathered up via his Discord server. So this was you can't get an impression of it really unless I actually just play out the video, and obviously we want to talk about it rather than just play the video. I have put a link to this did I put a link to something else because this isn't released yet? I don't know. I've put a link to Bev's channel for certain in the live stream chat, as I said earlier, but I've also put a link just now to the server. So what made this more interesting to me was the participation. It reminded me of, you may not remember this, Bev, but many years ago I did Tracking the Sun on a Flat Earth Live, and there was a lot of participation, but it was through much more crude means. And as much as you're saying, yeah, you've got your faults with Discord, by comparison, this is far more slick because of Discord. You know, me speaking praises of Discord, but you know, the kind of participation. In other words, if you're sat there watching this show now and you just went, oh, I'd quite like to get involved somehow, but I literally don't want to move an inch, you could. You click on that link to Bev's Discord server and you can participate and actually get involved in what's going on here. And a lot of the audience, I mean, Flatsoid, for example, if you could tell us a bit more about Flatsoid's participation, just so I can pass the ball back over to you, Bev, because I've plugged you a little bit. But yeah, check out Bev's Discord server, the link's in the live stream chat. But yeah, tell us a bit about Flatsoid's participation, which you mentioned earlier.
Well, yeah, obviously we have, it's a Discord server that's open to everybody, and well, I say everybody, there's some unwanted people that we don't allow in, but anybody can come in and get involved in it. And so obviously we've got the usual guys that we've been setting this up with, but Flatsoid was particularly interested in it because this is the sort of stuff he does with optics and you know, things in the distance. And this is I don't know how far the biggest scale of the optics test that anybody's ever done so far. But this definitely gives us the chance to have what I would say is a really accessible sort of flat surface. But I mean, it looks like I'm sloping away, but not that you'd tell because it's at such a slow angle. But it's definitely there. And like Flatsoids is dealing away with the diminishing angle. And if you actually get a chance to watch what's happening here and where that angle is and where you're sort of narrowing into. Obviously, next time we'll try and get it a bit more centered. We'll try and walk a straight line so you can see that line diminishing and what happens into the distance. Hopefully, you know, in the plans for the new stuff that we've got, if we can keep walking in a straight line, then obviously you would be able to fast forward it and slow it down. You get a bit more of a view of it. But yeah, it's good having other people there with other ideas that, you know, they can give you ideas for what to do next time.
Indeed, it's the hive mind at work, isn't it? But you can really get an idea of that I got an idea watching this when I was, you know, excitedly calling you, going, what? Explain this to me. You're going under the horizon. My reaction was the same as chocolates. Was it chocolates or Adams?
Yeah.
Chocolates.
Perfect stuff. Anybody want to add 2 Pennyworth to what Bev's showing here? This is just rough stuff, by the way, as Bev's kind of alluding to. That's one of my questions because I didn't want to be offensive and say, you know, the raw material is obviously excellent stuff. It's then been put on this video so you can see what's happened, but this is sort of like a proof of concept, or, you know, going out to see what they can achieve, what the area's like, and then they've done it in participation with Discord, and they've gone, actually, this was really good stuff. Let's do more with this. Let's get more people involved and sort of spread it around and show what we're doing. Because it's just the bottom line. What are you doing? Well, you're going out and having a look, right? And you're having your look at the world. That's what you're doing, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, like I say, Cats, thanks, Cats. He sent me there to take a picture, and I took a picture, and it was quite nice. We've had some nice times. Like I watched the second Fata Morgana from that very beach. So, as far as I know, I've filmed, or I've been there when it's been filmed, the 2 only full sunset Fata Morganas from that beach there. I mean, I wouldn't have been there for the second one if it hadn't have been for Cats. But the chances that we now have from doing that initial one. So on Discord, when I went to go and take those pictures and went to go and find out what sort of height he was and all of that sort of stuff. Well, I did all of that live on Discord. All of the gang were all there when I was doing it, taking pictures and doing the the altering skyline where the temperature went and when it all went up and down. Well, that was done live on Discord. We do quite a lot of stuff live.
I don't actually know what you're referring to.
We do it.
Oh, hold on. What do you mean when the temperature went up? Expand on what you mean. I don't know what you mean.
The Blackpool scene where it all rose and sunk like an accordion.
Now I know what you're talking about. Yes, that was very, very useful immediately into the discussion about Blackpool Swan, right? So I trimmed that out with Kosho going, this won't change, the weather never changes. Why? Well, because they need straight lines to get their angles, so they've got a little flat earth straw man that they're going to burn, right? So they don't need weather to be factored in because they're taking angle measurements. So weather won't make any difference. Cue your video with the mountains moving up and down. You know what I mean?
It's like I've been saying for quite a while, you can't do fuck all with an angle. You can't do nothing with an angle. It doesn't mean anything. You need a distance at least to be able to perform trigonometry. Oh, and a right angle triangle. You know, there's a few requirements for you to be able to use an angle to do anything. And they haven't really got a clue about what they're dealing with when they're saying that. And this is like sort of step one to show that baseline of the the baseline of that angle that you're using. I mean, I don't know where they're getting it from. What exactly do they mean? Because you can see that picture there, that horizontal line within the auto level is way above my head.
I don't think I've ever discussed this with you, actually, Bev. What was your reaction when initially, in order to achieve their acquisition of this angle, they just held up a flat Earth straw man and said this is how they do it? What was your reaction to that?
It always has been. Like, you can't you can't have an angle. The moment they state angle and say that elevation is a zero change, then they're basically saying it's flat. They don't understand what the words that they're using, but the way they describe everything is as though it is in reality, right? There's no difference between the way people in reality talk and the way that builders and all of that talk. It's just the concept of the model that drives these people. They're literally,
that's why
the
they'll
model
try to,
dictates everything to them.
and that's why they'll try to change the definitions on you on the fly.
Yeah.
Just like you said, they have no choice but to describe it in reality. But then they change the words that they use to try to make you think that they mean something else when they really don't. Like this, the banana in the tailpipe. Like, we're not falling for that crap anymore. So I have fun continuing to tell us how locally flat it is and nonsense like that. And it's optics. I love that. That's my favorite one. Keep telling us that. It's great.
This is something that Brian, Bev, 10th Man, they're all trying to drive home the same thing, right? In order to do any of these measurements, you've got to start with a flat surface. In order to take a 90-degree angle to zenith, you've got to start with a flat surface. Yeah? And if you're going to beg the question of a sphere to weasel in something that you can work from to get any angular measurements, it's a zenith to the presupposed spherical Earth in a datum. But then they use Euclidean measurements and still measure it all flat. So even when they beg the question, they've got to deal with the topology that they're facing, and that's flat. So there's no issue in terms of actually measuring it, because you can just say, yeah, I'll take this as read that it's a flat surface between me and there, because it is. And it has to be, and if it wasn't, it wouldn't work. Has to be flat.
Yeah, I think you can't measure triangles with straight sides and then at the end go, oh, well, all of those triangles were actually bent. They've all got curves in them. It's ridiculous. It doesn't happen.
That's the Black Swan argument in essence, isn't it? When they're making their measurement to their horizon to derive R, or Al-Biruni, if you want to take the actual rhetoric story of the origin. Well, Al-Biruni is drawing a straight line to that sphere edge, horizon, formerly known as Earth curve. So you have to have that to make the measurements. It's got to be straight. So what are you going to do when all the lines are all bent? You can't get any angles. You can't do any of these measurements. So you're screwed. Everything relies on the nature of the reality being flat. Well, you can't twist that in any other way other than to beg the question and derive a zenith and then take 90 degrees from the zenith when you refer yourself to a datum, but then use Euclidean measurements. You're measuring it flat. You're working with a flat surface. And everyone knows it at some level. Everyone knows it.
Al-Biruni is a wizard trick. It's a mathematical, a geometric wizard trick, because all he has is an angle on a stick.
Yeah,
he's got literally it. The rest of it is a magic wizardry trick.
That's absolutely correct. So he's got a zenith position up the mountain, and then he's derived from there, that's the starting point, 90 degrees to an imaginary horizon. So after he's got his imaginary horizon with his stick and his 90 degrees and his presumption of zenith, well, what's he going to do? Well, he's going to measure out a line to a presumed physical point in the distance called the horizon. He's going to assume that the horizon's a physical sphere edge to measure a tangent with it. A straight line to it being that tangent that you cannot bend. As soon as you bend it, which they're currently doing in rebuttal to the black swan, you can't have a map. I can't have it as a useful measurement tool anymore. It's no longer straight, curved. That's not what a tangent is. Same goes for the ground beneath your feet. Yes, they get around it by measuring zeniths and presupposing tangents 90 degrees, and yeah, they can get around it, but they're still going to be measuring it flat. That's the bottom line, isn't it? Same with the navigation of the stars, as 10th Man points out on the pre-show so often.
You know, I got to bring in here Tim Osman's quote about Earth curve. What are they now saying about Earth curve?
Nobody claims the horizon is Earth curve.
Yeah, and now what you see here from the beginning to now is true research. Okay, we get labeled flat earthers and people make fun of us and all this stuff, but you can see to the extent that Bev and his crew and all the people on Discord went to. Okay, so what are they showing here? They're actually doing something. It's not a bunch of idiots who think the earth is flat. They're actually doing something and saying, look at what we're doing here. There's compression, there's Rayleigh criteria, there's weather effects, there's all kinds of things that can affect your optics. The ballers don't do that. They always said it was Earth curve, Earth curve, Earth curve. Now they're saying, well, we never said it was Earth curve. Embarrassing for them.
Nobody claims the horizon is
Can I have a
Earth curve.
citation for that, please?
Yeah, their response to the black swan is nobody claims the horizon is Earth curve. We can't see physical geometry. The horizon that's geometric only exists in the maths. Those are their responses, because the horizon's not a physical location, as clearly being depicted in this particular presentation on screen right now.
Can I just add that Scott Veach once labelled that the turve. It's the tangent, a curving tangent. He just named it. He made it up. That right there and then, as we were chatting, a turve.
Curve?
Yeah.
Wait, Bev, real quick, what's a tangent?
Yes, a straight line, and so that's a
Oh.
curve. He just made it up. Like, poof,
He's got the 2021 version. Yo.
If you can find that and trim it out, send it to QE. We'll turn it into a numpty clip.
It's somewhere in one of my clips.
Please
definitely.
tell me you have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I had one with coffee the other day.
What, a turve?
Yeah, I said, you want a croissant or a turve? I said, give me a turve.
Okie
That
dokie.
coffee accelerating or?
Yeah, I mean, both those go together, right? Or see my tea and Scott Beach.
Were you in the tart area?
Good one.
Epic. Right, Bev, was there anything else? If not, I'm going to say kudos, props, and plug you again.
No, yeah, that's about it. Thank you very much. Ongoing, we'll go on and carry on, do more.
Excellent stuff. So, as you can see on screen, the channel is called Try Thinking. The link to Bev's channel is in the live stream chat. It's the top link that you can see on screen now. You can still go and click on it if you're not a member. The link to the Discord server is about halfway down the page. So click on it. I assume you've got some process to get approved or something along those lines, Bev?
On the Discord.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think so. We'll be
Sure.
fine.
So you'll just have to go through that process if you want to join, but you can participate in these sorts of events, and it is jolly good fun, having done a lot of them myself. They are great fun. Especially if your boots on the ground as you were, lifting your leg up in the diffraction limit. Shout out to Unicorn Laser Eyes. Shout out to Try Thinking crew. Indeed. So yeah, subscribe today to Try Thinking. Join his Discord server. Participate in the fun.
Thank you very much.
Clicking. Who's making that noise right through a plug for another channel? Outrageous. Sacrilege.
I turned a page. I'm sorry.
Outrageous. Anyway, yeah, thank you very much, Bev. I really appreciate you sharing it with me, as you can probably tell from my pretty much immediate call after watching the video that you shared.
Well, we'll give you first shout on when we do the other one.
For what? All I did was get excited about the work you'd done. So there's not much to shout me out for.
Well, obviously, you guys will be the ones that are talking about it and discussing it. And if you come up with things like Flatside did, what would be helpful next time? If you come up with anything like that, I mean, we're always open for, trying to fit stuff in. But basically, next time we'll be doing it a bit more professionally, trying to get the sighting on the crosshairs so you can see that a bit better for distance, and then trying to keep in a straight line, and and measuring it, because I should have took the measuring wheel. I didn't.
When you say a bit more professional, we took in bar, tent with a band, observation stations with telescopes set up, anything like that. No, not that. Not
well,
that.
I mean, it'd be nice to get an infrared camera there, wouldn't it?
Oh
to
my
see
God!
what,
I keep
to see
forgetting
what happens
to shout.
with that as well. Get the lot on it. I mean, why not?
Right. Have you all seen the P900 and P1000 Cool Pics channel video?
Absolutely.
Right. I'd like to talk about that next.
Yeah. I've got it in the intro. P900 Cool Pics, shout out.
Was it in the intro to that video?
Yeah, and the bit where it says you can't see too far. Your model dictates that you never see too far, Buster. Yeah, that's Sandra's pics.
Okay. Whereabouts? 1 minute something, presumably.
It's the one where they took a picture from Blackpool Beach, about 2 foot off the water, or maybe even inches off the water. It was on the floor. You can see it. They get the Isle of Man.
I'll see if I can dig out Sandra's video from her channel. So can you talk to me yourself just while I dig out Sandra's original video?
Of the original one of the Isle of Man from Blackpool Beach.
Yes, the one that came out about a week ago.
May have been something like 2 years ago. It's like quite an old one.
No.
Oh no, I think they redid it. The old one was but the one I put in my intro is that, and the shrinking sun in the distance. That's one of their pictures. Some of the best pics around that. They've got the infrared now as well. Infrared P1000. That's one.
So, Beth, do you have to deal with dates, being that it's summer and the weather's a certain way? Do you have a window that you got to do all this by, or do you have?
Well, I don't know. I think it's pretty accessible, and the tide is like you hardly ever see the sea. So it's just a matter of timing the tide when it's out most, and then I don't know. We could do this in different conditions and see what I mean, because I had to go a long way from what I saw there that on that day. I've seen it higher. It would have been a lot easier, and it could have had a big towering wall of horizon behind me. I don't even know what to call it. Whether it's you can't call it a wall of water, can you? Seems a bit ridiculous now.
No, that was great.
I mean, Bev, for me, being presumptuous if you're asking for suggestions, to me it would be doing what you're doing and repeating it day after day, and then comparing those different conditions and showing the difference in image. That to me would be quite powerful. If you can, let's say, take a measure out there and be getting to roughly the same points every time, and then comparing those images over, I don't know, 5 or 6 days, that I think would be quite a useful thing, because if you are generating the distance as well on that knowledge, and then with that, if we knew anybody with a drone to then go up from where the cameras are and look at how the angles open up, that would be nice. But we'd need a drone.
Yeah.
Who's got an alarm going? Is that coming from one of you guys?
Yeah, sorry, one of the house alarms just keeps going off. I keep muting and unmuting.
Are you burning your house, Adam? Don't burn the house down.
No, neighbours are getting robbed, mate, but it's all right. I'm busy.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, so I've got it's from her more popular channel, which is called P900 Cool Pics. This is video title: Nikon Coolpix P1000 infrared beacon fell to Great Orme in 4K 62 miles. Have you guys all seen this?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Sandra stuff.
Beacon Fell is just behind Blackpool, so that would be the big hill behind Blackpool as I'm looking, and Great Orme is across the way to Wales.
So again, I'll put
Like at the end of Llandudno, it's a little nudgy bit at the end of Llandudno. It's a fantastic shot, that.
put a link to Sandra's channel, which is this channel, in the live stream chat again. So check her out. Go and subscribe. She's got two channels. One's called P900, which is a more popular channel because she's had it longer, and P1000 Cool Pics. Shout out to Paul Cornell for joining as a line. Thank you very much indeed. There's some mad distances you can get with the P1000. It's really, now that a few people have got them and it's swung around, obviously COVID's now pretty much out of the way, people can be out there doing this stuff. But when people were acquiring them, sort of 2018, 2019, obviously then they get into grips with them and there's only so many opportunities to get out there and use them. But now here, it's like hot, clear, people are out there with their cameras and there's a better quality of camera on the block. And it is the P1000 and how mad images that it produces too.
Yeah, that infrared, it's a dodgy process, but I mean, that is strapped onto a P1000 with an infrared. It's an unbelievable piece of kit.
Is it the same process as with the P900? You've got to basically fully modify the camera.
I think they don't want you doing it, so it's a bit of a dodgy process. You stand a chance of losing your camera, giving somebody to do the process, so it,
That's what I understood. So I was
Yeah.
reading some of the comments on this particular video to Sandra, and the kind of praise she was getting was presumably because there's a certain amount of dodge in just getting the camera fiddled with so it can do this in the first place. And this is not a cheap camera, so you just send it off to someone else. Yeah, take it to pieces, this finely tuned, delicate optical instrument, and fiddle with it so it does this. Yeah.
I think you have
And the
to
person presumably-
desolder a chip that's not meant to be desoldered, or
Right.
something like that. That's the way it was explained to me. It's sort of, they've learned their mistakes for doing the P900 because that's quite easy, I think. The P900 relative to the P1000, they sort of made it harder.
Well, isn't it just a filter on the, as I understood it when Anthony was talking about getting his done, it's just a filter that they have to remove. In other words, it's by standard going to pick up infrared, and then they filter it out, and you just have to sort of reverse that process.
I think so.
Whereas
But
in the
I don't
P1000
really understand digital imaging that much.
Well, neither do I, but
Yeah.
that's not really relevant. What's relevant is someone who's invested heavily in a piece of equipment has then risked it getting completely broken just to achieve this.
But
Not
yeah,
this
but
now,
you
this
see,
isn't, but-
my lad's got a P1000 and I've showed him these pictures and I said, do you want, and he went, yeah. I went, it's dodgy. He went, I don't care. Like when you see the actual infrared and what you can see in normal, like that what he's showing right now. It's what it looks like in normal, but then you switch the infrared on and it's all there. It's amazing. Especially
Are
for
you presenting
distance.
that? Did you link that? Where could I see that?
Where can you see what? You asking me to?
Oh, I'm just asking. Is he showing something like the infrared he's talking about?
Yeah, I'm showing
working,
it to
I'm not
the-
really sure.
Yes, to the live audience.
All right, thank you.
And just because I'll take it as a plug, where you can see this is on P900 Cool Pics channel. Subscribe today. Link in the live stream chat. Yeah, the title of this video is Nikon Coolpix P1000 Infrared Beacon Fell 2 Great Orme in 4K 62 miles. Catchy title there, Sandra.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's some good stuff. There's a really interesting shot in the opposite direction, but we need somebody to come out of hiding to come and get involved, and we'll talk geometry and stuff if anybody wants to do that.
Talk angles on a flat plane.
Yeah, flat water, locally flat water, and how that can generate mountains. I don't know. I like what I say. There's certain people I would love to have a discussion with exactly what they're talking about, with what happens and things in the distance that so-called have wrote a book of optics. It's got to be a joke, that, right?
What, the big Crayola book of optics?
The big empty book. Now, nobody's ever seen it yet. It must be stuck at the publishers.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff going on at the moment. Thanks to people who are out with their boots on the ground, which is people like Bev and Sandra. Just in this instance, I'm not ignoring everybody else. Don't type bloody me with comments. Well, that this person, they're doing loads. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's just out there taking pictures, you know. Like Adam says, it'd be good if people have got a drone. They want to come and get involved with. There was actually, when we were out there that day, there was a guy with a really fancy drone, and it looked like he had a film crew with him. So we might have ended up being on that. And yeah, that was a really, really fancy drone. It must be a good spot for people to go out, you know, because it's flat. Thanks, cats.
Just so it's matching up with what you're talking about, I'll just pop your imagery back on, just so not talking at cross purposes. Yeah, it is. It is.
I like it. Good looking out, cats.
Say again. Sorry. Go ahead, Chocolate.
Nah, I just like that every once in a while. It's the thanks, cats. Good looking out, cats. Appreciate that.
Oh, well, I'm glad we're talking about it. I mean, I don't know about you, Bev, but this was just hand waved until only recently, right? Fleur perspective, and no, don't need it. It's geometric. Well, now we're attacking it on both fronts. No, you can't achieve any of this without straight lines, and your lines are bent. So that's the end of your geometric assertions when you assume geometry and assume things that don't exist in reality. That would be geometric horizons with tangent points capable of being measured by way of them. But by contrast to geometric assumptions from mathematical reifications, that's globe Earth assumptions of physical horizons, you're out, boots on the ground, just having a look at the world that actually presents itself to you. Not putting yourself in an orthographic view side on when you see the side of your own head.
You've got to start with a baseline, and that baseline's a straight line. Like they're done right there. At that point where you start talking about perpendicular, that's the relationship of a straight line to another straight line. That's all they ever say. It's just an imagined curve at some point, but nobody actually realizes that imagined. It's all just dead straight lines. You can only measure from one point to another. And that is a straight line from one point to another. Geometrically, that's how you describe a straight line. The shortest distance from one point to another. And all you end up doing when you do this with an auto level, you generate a slope that the beach is sloping away from you. That's it. That's the only thing you'll ever determine.
Sure, you're not talking about the turf.
Well, like the moment you mention that, you're giving them the shape underneath. It's just a straight line. But the moment you say the T word, you're generating a circle underneath it because that's what's needed. If there's no circle,
of course,
it's just a straight line.
That's where they live. They live in presupposition, brother.
Yeah.
Well, they used to live in presupposition. Now they live in paradox. It's worse now since 2020.
That's why now none of them can ever say anything, because they know there's somebody out there on their side who has a contradictory approach to it. They can never take a position, and especially not the reality position, because that's going to be flat Earth.
Hey, Anthony.
And that's funny, right? Because they used to tell us how we don't have like a unified position in this. Really? Well, apparently you guys don't.
You know, I was watching I was working in the garage, and time dilated a little bit too quick, and I didn't realize how late it was, so I missed the beginning. I've watched it on double speed to catch up. Coolpix P900's channel with that P1000 footage, I was watching that then when you were presenting it, and the Great Orme Mound, and I could see Llandudno and the hills at Llandudno, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh my God, I've got family there, and I can see almost their house because I recognize the topography of the land, and I'm like, is that really what I'm looking at? So I've just quickly gone over to Google Earth to see roughly what angle she's looking at, and she's literally looking right the way down to the beach. It's like, where's the curve there, guys? There is no. Oh, but they won't know what I know because I recognise the topography of the land, and I can see almost my family's home. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. Shout outs to Cassandra for that footage.
Had you not seen this?
No.
Since
I've
the
got
video
my
with
channel
loads of pictures
taken off me. She was on my old channel, but she's not on my new one, so I've re-added her.
Oh, okay. I said she's uploaded an absolute metric butt ton of videos on the Sun. So when I went to look for this is buried in her channel now, which is a crying shame. Not that I don't appreciate your Sun videos.
Get it to make a playlist.
It's funny because, like, when you were mocking like how ballers would call like perspective, and Chocolate's right. It's the opposite way around now. They're actually calling out the stuff that we were calling out years ago as perspective, and we're saying, well, where is that in the maths? And of course, it's not in their curve maths, is it? But if it was in their curve maths, then there would be no curve because they're compensating for the curve if they put it in. Hence the reason why they'll never put it in. But can you imagine if you were a ball earther and you opened up a channel called Perspective? You'd feel like a bit of a dick at the minute, wouldn't you? Because ballers are arguing our points to explain these arguments, and it's like, well, guys, hello, it's not in your maths. Major problem, guys.
Yeah, there's a reason we call it the begging the question proof of nothing. Perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator? Because you don't have perspective. Your feet and inches values for any of the targets that you put through your maths on a sphere won't change with distance. It's a 10-foot wall, right? Well, it's a 10-foot wall at a mile. 10 miles, 100 miles, 1,000 miles, 10,000 miles, million miles. Doesn't matter how far you push it away in their maths. And you'll often see a depiction, for example, from National Geographic, where you've got a guy looking out side on. Of course, you're seeing the guy seeing the side of his head, looking out into the distance on a ball. Well, by scale, he's looking out over 3,000 miles, but they haven't changed the scale of the boat or the man. And the only thing that's causing the boat to not be seen, by a proportion, is the sphere Earth inside profile getting in the way with its geometric sphere edge horizon. Of course, the fact that the boat would be so tiny at those sorts of scales, but that's not factored into your maths. It doesn't have perspective. Yet you guys are all arguing amongst yourselves about something that we use as a defence to your argument that doesn't have perspective. Yeah, beautiful. Like when R.C. Meisty came here and started correcting us on how the Rayleigh criterion does or doesn't work. Regardless of how right or wrong he was, all I had to say was, where's it in the maths? And then he ran away.
Did you catch Slimy play? He
ran away.
He said that when asked, like, do objects basically get smaller as a function of distance or bigger via Nathan? I'm putting the words in there. It wasn't quite like that, but Nathan's words were basically, as things get further away, they get smaller. Limey play said, no, they don't get smaller, they get bigger. And I was like, what? The guy's a moron.
What?
He said the angle opens up as it gets further away. Did you see that, Nathan? What on earth was that?
Sorry, me playing an advert. I'll just cue it up rather than trying to just play it immediately.
Yeah, I mean, to argue that, and we've said for ages, like, how far away is the mountain? How big's the 10-foot wall when it's 3 miles away? Because it's not 10 foot anymore, is it? It's an angle. It's small, and it's getting pretty small at 3 miles away. You're not going to see it. But they still say, well, it's 10 foot. It's like, no, it isn't. It's 10 foot at 3 miles. Joshua, yeah. Well done.
Remember that?
Shout out retracted.
Shout out retracted, baby.
Okay, I'll play it. If
Joshua.
you guys hold on 1 second, so you can just mute for a sec.
From the viewer's relative position. However, the viewer is far enough away that with the current lens view they are using, and again, this could be their eye or even a camera that can't zoom in far enough. So with this current lens and the current lighting conditions, they are unable to distinguish the area of view here with this area here. Or we could say that they cannot resolve this entire area here. So to them, it looks like the ship has gone over the curve already because they cannot separate that part of the ship from the water in front of it.
Unreal. Essentially detailing how you can't resolve the difference between the angle at the bottom of the boat and the angle to the sea. Therefore, you can't distinguish between the two. And according to him, in his words, looks like it's gone over the curve. Well, the depiction doesn't have any curve. You're just depicting the angular limitation in this view, which is Flatsoid's image. So that's the hijacking of perspective then. He's detailed, literally detailed, the hijacking of perspective.
That was a baller, Adam, yeah. It was a guy called Limey Play, which we all call him Slimy Play, because obviously he's playing his name. But yeah, that's what he said. Like, well done. Welcome to Flat Earth, dude. He doesn't realise what he's saying.
I want to play it once more.
From the viewer's relative position. However, the viewer is far enough away that with the current lens view they are using, and again, this could be their eye or even a camera that can't zoom in far enough. So with this current lens and the current lighting conditions, they are unable to distinguish the area of view here with this area here. Or we could say that they cannot resolve this entire area here. So to them, it looks like the ship has gone over the curve already because they cannot separate that part of the ship from the water in front of it. Entire area here. So to them, it looks like the ship has gone over the curve already because they cannot separate that part of the ship from the water in front of it. Yeah, here. So to them, it looks like the ship has gone over the curve already because they cannot separate that part of the ship from the water in front of it.
Wow, buddy. Welcome to Flat Earth, my friends.
Snacks are in the back.
Bathrooms to the left. DJ's playing with Quest. And smoke them if you got them. That's a wrap.
Shout out to Unitox Femu. Gives me a fist bump for £2. Thank you very much indeed, Unitox Femu. Really appreciate the support. Not going to lie. Thank you very much.
Hey, Nathan.
Hello.
Hey, this is Red Man. I'd like to give a shout out to Buster and his music. Just want to put that out there.
I didn't hear you shouted out. Do it once more.
Buster. That's the music that plays in the videos. Sorry.
Okay. Cool. Do it again.
No, what I was gonna say was the music that plays in Bev's videos. I'm just shouting out Buster. Awesome job. Keep it going.
Perfect. With that, though, I am going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you, first and foremost, to all of you tuned in live on Nathan Oakley 1980. If you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. You can also get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy, link in the info box below this video. I've been Nathan Oakley. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!